Well, greetings to the APU community. I'm Keith Hull. I serve as Vice President, Chief Diversity Officer, and thank you so much for consulting the April edition of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion newsletter. This month, we are spotlighting Mosaic, APU's network of ethnic affinity organizations for faculty and staff. We hope you access the Cafecito conversations below that feature Dr. Pat Brown, President of the Black Faculty Staff Administrators Association, and Christine Guzman, who serves as the co-chair of the Latin Faculty Staff Administrators Association. We thank the Center for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusive Excellence for featuring their lived experiences and their observations, as well as the highlights that express the value of having ethnic affinity organizations at a Christian higher ed institution. Secondly, we want you to be aware of a panel discussion that's being co-sponsored by DEI and the Asian Mosaic Association. The title of the conversation is Lifting Our Voices. We are centering the experiences of some of our Asian American women at APU. And so we thank in advance Drs. Kirsten O, Regina Trimmel, Courtney Davis, and Jennifer Elrod. And they're going to share some of their observations, especially in light of the rise of xenophobic rhetoric, behavior, racist attacks that have been targeted towards the Asian community, especially Asian women. And so I think we're going to glean a lot from their expertise, their lived experience on ways we as faith-informed leaders can demonstrate solidarity with the Asian community, with our Asian neighbors, and also refute and push back on any racist acts that are taking place globally, within social media outlets, etc. So you don't want to miss that. Again, that's April 28th, 10:30 to 11:45. You can RSVP using the appropriate button below. We also want to make you aware of the end of the year Mosaic virtual gathering that we're facilitating on May the 5th. And so if you want more information about APU's network of ethnic affinity organizations, please join us for this festive event. It will take place from 10:30 to 11:45, and you can use the RSVP button to join us for that occasion or to join the first phase of our ethnic affinity organizations that are active. We also understand at APU we have a number of faculty, staff who are engaged in diversity, equity, and inclusion research. And so if you have drafted or published an article or co-authored a chapter that's related to DE&I, we would love for you to share that with us. We want to strategically account for DEI research that flows out of APU, and we want to find a way to strategically share it with our university community. And so there's a Google form within the newsletter where you can support that campaign, and we thank you in advance for doing it. Lastly, we want to express just deep gratitude to our university community for the way that you've been willing to engage our diverse demography of students, our diverse faculty and staff in very difficult conversations. I mean, let's face it, this has been a very difficult season. In addition to the pandemic, there's been socio-political distress. There has been sustained racial and social unrest that sparked with the tragic death of Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, with the death of George Floyd, and even ranging to the verdict that was rendered on yesterday. We've seen the xenophobic violent acts that's been directed towards our Asian neighbors. There's been unrest in other places around the globe, such as Nigeria and Armenia. And so we thank you for being willing to engage with students, to also express care to our students as they grapple with all the tensions, all of the frustrations that are tied to this season as they deal with loss and losing loved ones due to the pandemic. And we feel very fortunate that we've been able to partner with many of you in facilitating conversations with students and creating space for open dialogue on ways that we can amplify racial justice, racial equity, and ways that we can integrate the kingdom principles and distinctives of diversity, equity, and inclusion across our institution. And so as we approach the end of the semester, on behalf of the DEI team, we want to thank you for your partnership and your commitment to advancing DEI. Lastly, we want to thank all of our faculty, staff, and even some of our students who are serving on DEI working groups to process ways that we can operationalize equity and justice as it relates to the strategic plan renewal. And those working groups are making incredible progress, and we just want to thank the chairs, co-chairs of those working groups, as well as the diverse cross-section of faculty, staff, and students who are serving to meet those desired outcomes. So thank you again for consulting the newsletter. If you have any questions, if we can be of resource to you, feel free to utilize the email addresses at the bottom of the newsletter, and we'll be glad to support, whether that's through coaching or consultative support or even collaborative engagement. Look, we wish you the best, and we bid you Godspeed. Blessings.